my son, his blood is on your hands. You may think you got away with it down here, but there's somebody that you got to answer to when you leave this earth, and you ain't gonna get away with it there. And that's all I got to say to you. My name is Helen Bradley Hall, and my son is Kenneth Bradley Jr.
You okay? You think you can do it?
And as difficult as it is, I had to do it as a mother because of the love I have for my son.
Look at that smile. It does so much more than just light up a room. It is electric. Like you can almost feel it, you know? Helen Bradley Hall feels it. Every day. She misses it. Most days, since Kenneth's murder, his ray of sunshine brings her joy. But other days?
Sick to my stomach, angry, lost. Losing him was the worst thing I could ever experience in my life. He was stolen from not just me, his children, his grandmother, his father, his siblings, his cousins, everybody. They just took everything from us when they took him. He was my son.
29-year-old Kenneth Bradley Jr. was not perfect. He'd made some mistakes, some bad choices, but he owned them.
We all done things in our life that we're not proud of. That don't mean we deserve to be killed for it. That doesn't mean you're less than a person because you did those things. You still have a family that loves you no matter what you do. Because I'm a mother. Because I'm a mother. It's just that simple.
Kenneth was a dreamer. He had goals, and they were big.
All this work I'm putting in, I need couture.
He was a rapper, went by the name Topside Cardi.
Well, I'm from the summer, feel like it's January. Look me in my eyes, boy, to get hella scared.
He rapped about what he saw, what he did, what he heard. And Kenneth was days away from moving to sunny California to see what he could make happen in Hollywood.
Oh, watch how I uno. Rapper get the slamming like a sumo. You know
My son was a Detroit rapper. His dream was to make it and give back to where he started from, his community. He wanted the children to understand that change can happen if you put forth the effort. He wanted his children to grow up with a father. He wanted his family to be proud of him.
But perhaps other people were not proud and did not want to see Kenneth Bradley Jr. succeed. So let's go back to February 28th of 2021.
My mom called me just before 10 o'clock. She asked me, "You talked to Pony?" which was his nickname. I'm like, "No, why?" When she said that, my heart stopped. I knew something wasn't right. As a mother, he'd been shot.
Detroit police tell me it was one of those days when folks were out drag racing. Kenneth was inside his custom 2012 Dodge Charger, parked at a gas station on Schoolcraft, out of nowhere. Some guys pull up in a gray Ford Focus. One of them gets out, fires shots into Kenneth's car, then comes back, unloads again, takes Kenneth's ride, and takes off.
I'd have stood in front of them bullets and took every last one of them for my son. He was ambushed, shot 4 times. 4 times. But what I do know, there was more than one person involved in my son's murder. And his car came up missing in the process of his murder, which hasn't still been found. It's like a mystery. This incident took place where there were tons of people everywhere and nobody saw nothing.
Where was it?
Evergreen and Schoolcraft, where the kids do the donuts in the street. But he wasn't there racing, he was there watching. Police call, they scatter to their car. My son head to his car. Someone said, hey. As soon as my son turned around, he was shot. He didn't get a chance to react. There was a video posted with the gunfire. And I actually saw my son's body hit the ground in this video. And I'm like, why would somebody want to post this on Instagram, YouTube, or anything? I saw my son hit the ground. No mother should ever have to see that, hear that, or know that. I'd have felt better just knowing my son was shot, but to see, I haven't been right since. I haven't slept right since. And nobody know nothing. Somebody knows something. They just ain't saying. All I have of my son is an herb sitting in my living room on the table. And this, with him in here. And the person that did this to my son is still walking the street.
I wanna stop this right here. I'm gonna enter this in the video so everybody can get a good look at this person right here. So I'll play the rest, but I'm going to introduce you, you guys. So this case, I came upon on Facebook. I don't know how. I wasn't even a part of the group that Miss Helen Hall was a part of. I saw her story and I just immediately wanted to help. So this is Miss Helen Hall. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
I know it's very emotional and I can't even imagine what you are going through. I am so sorry.
Thank you.
And it's been 2 years.
Yep, 2 years.
And this guy on the screen, the police have his, his picture, obviously, and nobody's saying anything. Nobody's.
Nope. Not a name, no location, no nothing.
Has he been? Huh?
He's just out there.
Somebody has to know something, like you said, and they're not saying anything. How can nobody? This is a clear picture. This is very clear.
People don't have a conscience. It's not their loved one, so why should they care? That's how they feel.
Are these pictures? Are there pictures of him, hanging up, or do the police have him hanging up, or on their webpage, or?
When I got that hold of that photo, I made tons of copies and I started passing them out all over Detroit metro area, suburban area, gas station, light poles, and everywhere.
And nothing.
Nothing.
So your son, he went to the, what was the car show called again? I'm sorry.
It was, I was told it was a drag racing event. put on by the Red Line Car Club here in Detroit.
And that was something that he usually went to, or it was just.
It was something he usually went to quite a few times. He was a part of the races. Nothing ever happened during that time, but this particular day, he wasn't racing. He went to be a spectator, and my son was murdered in the process.
I know it's hard. Let me know if you're not comfortable, but do you kind of want to go over what you know, what happened, more specific details, who he was with?
There was a young man he was with named Fat Boy Cam, a relative, which name I choose not to disclose due to safety reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And the police haven't given me any information. I don't know why they killed my son. I don't know why his car has not been found. None of those things. So it's like I'm in the dark myself.
So you said that you mentioned the car. So when he got shot, and that was 4 times, correct?
Yes.
When he got shot, they also took his car. He was in his car?
No, he was headed to his car.
And then
He was shot. And the young man got in the car, and another car pulled up alongside of my son's vehicle. They talked with the murderer for about a good, I would say 2 to 3 minutes, and then they took off.
And so after that, so your son was laying there, and the family member ran off, right? He wasn't there, and somebody
He was being shot at still as he was running.
And somebody ended up picking your son up and dropping him off, or going towards the hospital, right?
They picked my son up off the street, put him in their truck, drove him to Grace Sinai Hospital, and my son was pronounced dead once he arrived.
I can't even, I have no words. I mean, this is a man that was obviously, doing right for his kids. He was very loved, very well known, like respected, very close to his family from what I know that you've told me. Like you said, everybody has a past, and it doesn't matter what these police think, what type of person he is. Justice needs to be served.
Exactly.
Everything that you are going through right now, I don't understand how it's 2 years already and nothing. And Detroit, from what I've just learned from you, there's so many unsolved cases. And
it's a lot of them here in the inner city of Detroit. I'm not the only mother who child has been murdered and no answers.
There needs to be a change.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
The detectives not speaking, not letting you know anything. Do you feel like they've just given up, or?
Yeah, I feel like they've totally just given up and hit a brick wall, and they choose not to further investigate. It's my belief.
That blows my mind, and it really angers me. And just
these are the very same individuals that we count on to protect and serve. And if they're not going to protect and serve, what's the point of them being on the force? What's the point of them even being a detective? Because you're not doing the job of a detective.
Mm-hmm. And you also have a phone in your possession that they didn't even pick up. Am I right?
Yes, there's a phone that was given to me that they thought belonged to my son, but it did not. It was given to me by the relative because he thought it was his cousin's phone. He's like, well, I'm going to give it to his mom. And when I got home in Monroe, I just so happened to be scrolling through the phone and I discovered it was not my son's phone. There was a message in there that was disturbing to me because one of the young men said,
I
you
will be
boys
back down in a
are
minute.
wild for this. I'm like, what do you mean? They wild for this one. Are you trying to say they killed my son? Whoever the phone belonged to, and the individual texts like, who is this? This is my phone. And I told him who I was. He's like, well, I want my phone back. I said, well, you're going to have to come all the way to Monroe County to get this phone. He never showed up to get his phone. And the detectives did not come to retrieve this phone either.
My partner Coffee just got on. Let me introduce you guys real quick. Miss Hall, this is Coffee, my partner. Coffee, this is Miss Hall, who I was talking to you about.
Yes, yes. The story is absolutely heartbreaking. And for him to still be walking. I am
It's
so
not
very,
just him,
very
there's
sorry.
several. There are several people involved in my son's murder. From my understanding, it's up to like 5 people involved.
Oh,
And that phone, that could be a very important, obviously, that could lead to one of
right.
the persons that did this, and they're not even coming to get that from you.
And I let the detective who's in charge of my son's case that I have this phone.
Right. They could have searched and at least found out whose phone it was. I am sorry. I missed where the phone came from.
It was in the vehicle where my son was placed into after he was shot. And they were rushing him to the hospital. And I guess it was one of the individuals' phone that was in the car with my son at the time.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
And they have videos of this, Coffee. I mean, and how disrespectful. I know, as a mother, you don't want to see your child, of course, all over the internet like this. And where did these people get this video? So nobody that had that video, they're obviously there. And they don't come out and say, this is this person, I saw this. Those people need to come out.
I could tell you this much. The 2 young men that videoed the shooting does not live far from my neighborhood. And my whole thing with those 2 men are, if you heard the gunshots and you saw my son's body hit the ground, you saw something more than just that.
Yes. Yes. And have they been interviewed?
I'm not sure if the police interviewed them or not. I have not spoke with the detective in almost about a year.
Oh, that is so wrong. Have you tried to contact the detective?
I've called this man. I've left several messages and no return calls at this point.
Okay. Red Bull, are we planning on putting out a call for action?
We are, and that's what I was speaking with Ms. Hall yesterday. This was just going to be an introduction since everybody, was, we're going to make calls. We're going to run background checks. We're going to do everything that we can, especially to get this man's face, also that is on this video. Somebody knows something. So, we're going to put that in plan. That's what we do. We call, sheriff's office
and demand them to give answers as to why nothing is being done.
And if
I have not yet to receive the autopsy report for my son.
It's been 2 years, Garnett, and she hasn't received the autopsy report.
Honey, my grandson, which is a completely different story, but I lost him. And the way they handled his case was very sad. And we waited a long time to get an autopsy report as well. So absolutely, this is something that we need those numbers. We need to start making phone calls and showing that people want answers. Why is there no I mean, we've got video, we've got a phone that's sitting in mom's lap. Why are these things not done?
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do. I have the detective's number. Once they see that nobody else, that everybody, even from different states, are hearing about this, it's gonna make them look horrible. So then they're gonna want to get on their ass and do their job. This is ridiculous. 2 years.
Yeah, there's no reason. None.
You've told me what his siblings are going through, and what his son, he has a teenage son, he has a little girl that was a daddy's girl. It's so heartbreaking, and we need to figure this out.
Yes. Well, we need to get people to do their jobs, because apparently somebody's not doing their job.
No.
And that's wrong.
Here in Detroit, if you were to call like the sheriff office or make complaints about this, they would go and answer it.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's
As me being an average citizen and the victim of a murdered child, they would totally ignore the fact that I want answers.
Oh, I get it. I was completely ignored for 5 years. I was completely ignored. I wish I had the connections that I have now.
My condolences to your family, Miss Coffee. That is so horrible.
It was definitely a very hard case, but we're not even, like I said, I only brought that up to let you know that I sympathize with not getting answers.
We can definitely help you get those answers, because when we say that we're not going to let this go, we're not going to let it go to the point where they're going to have to answer. We'll call media stations. We will,
we will get people to call on your behalf.
Mhm.
It's very hard when you're one person against the system. But when you have a group of people that are demanding answers and asking the hard questions, why is this? Why is it at this point? Why? There is no reason that you're here crying on a small YouTube channel for answers. They should be answering you.
Yeah,
they should. In fact, I called the detective yesterday, left a message, no return call.
When is the last time you spoke to him, and what did he say?
The last time I spoke with him was about a year. And that's when he asked me if I would be willing to go on the news channel with Andrea Isom and talk about my son's story, hopefully to get some answers or people to want to call in and say they know something. And that was the last time I talked to him.
And so then he just doesn't answer after that.
Nope. I've left several messages. I called him around Christmas time, asking him, have he found out any new information on my son's case? And no return call.
Do we have the DA's office?
We can get it.
You heard the number to the detective on the case.
But
all right.
Can you give us the DA's number as well?
Or I will have to find out who our district attorney is here. And if I'm not mistaken, the prosecutor office is Kim Worthy. I'm sure you guys heard of her.
We can find it. We'll get it.
Because we got to go. We have to get a DA to take action. That the sheriff's department's gonna go with what the DA says. So we need to give pressure to both of these entities to get movement.
There is no reason why. Oops. I was trying to show this guy. There is a person of interest on camera. And if he wanted to, clear himself, or if he wasn't guilty, he would have came out and said, yeah, that's me. So where are you hiding, and where are you at? We will find you.
What is your name? Who are you?
Exactly. Did anyone speak to them? I mean, him at the gas station? I mean, to the detectives? that were working with
I'm
you?
not sure if anyone had any contact with that young man at the gas station, if they had words with him, if they said hi in passing. I don't know. But I can tell you this much, I know the detectives have not spoken to this individual. Because if you have, you would have contacted me and said something.
We need to get his face all over
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's almost like I'm almost doing a detective job for him, because I even asked him, have you submitted the bullets that were retrieved from my son's body for ballistics?
And what was his response?
That is like our last resort, because once we do that, and if nothing comes back, we can totally destroy evidence off of it. And that takes some time. I'm like, well, it couldn't take that much time in a murder case.
Well, and you're looking for ballistics.
Fingerprints. Because this is my theory. If you were dumb enough to go out there and kill someone just before dark around a lot of people, you probably weren't too smart enough to put gloves on to put those bullets in that chamber to kill my son.
I'm at a loss, and I apologize so much.
I just messaged Norman because I'm really just. Yesterday I was pissed, and I'm sick about everything that your family is going through. But just hearing it over, I'm really pissed. And I know you're 100 million. That's your baby. That's your son.
That's your
It's
baby.
like it's like, where and when am I going to ever get the answers that my family deserve?
That you deserve, honey. You deserve these answers as well.
Yes, my family as a whole, mainly his children.
Yes, yes, for God's sakes.
And you haven't been able to. I mean, your life, everybody's life has just been turned upside down. And he looked, that smile was so contagious just by looking at it. I was just like, I could see the brightness, I could tell he was a funny guy, and just
Well,
gave
I
so
can
much
tell
love.
you, when you're waiting for answers like this, it makes it impossible to heal or move forward,
It does.
in any sense of the word, because you're waiting for that answer.
Yeah.
Even if it's, that he did something wrong, you need that answer to move forward.
That's closure for me and his children.
Yes, absolutely.
Norman's gonna come in here for a minute because I know you have to go get your grandbaby, but I
And
want
my whole thing with that is this: I don't want to be to where I'm too old to be able to sit in court and see these people brought to justice for my son's murder.
Right. I feel that.
Or I don't want to be here when that
Right.
day comes.
Right. You don't want
I
it to
wanna
be
see
the
that
day
happen.
after. Yep.
Here's Norman. Hey, Norman.
Hey,
How are you? This is Miss Helen Hall, who I was speaking to you about yesterday.
Hi, Mr. Norman. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm understanding you've had better days.
Oh, yes, for sure.
My condolences.
Thank you.
It's
So
really
how
emotional.
I
wanted
just
you
got
to
a
come
message
in.
to come. Yeah, I apologize. I'm like trying to set up for my show, so I
I know.
need to be caught up to speed. So I apologize.
Well, I know we're gonna do a part 2, but I just really like today because we're gonna start, trying to get a hold of the DA's office, the detective, and all of that. This guy on the screen, I don't know if you were watching. He
No,
is.
I jumped on as soon as you told me that you wanted me to jump on. I stopped everything and set up. So I
I
haven't seen anything
appreciate
else.
that.
No worries.
He's a person of interest. It's been 2 years, right? The police, the detectives, they're not looking for him. They haven't spoke to
This
him.
is the dude the picture that you sent me. We thought he was a minor.
Yeah,
Yeah, how old is he?
we don't know. Nobody knows his name.
We don't have his name either.
No.
So what do we have as far as any police information?
They
They
haven't had.
said he's a person of interest.
So you as the mother, you should, or as as being in direct contact with the victim, you should be able to get an incident report or some kind of police report. If you go
I
down
was
there, you
told
should.
because it's an open investigation that I was not allowed to get a copy of the police report.
I would keep requesting it. They can tell you all they want. What I would do is just keep calling like the non-emergency number through public records and keep. Do you have an attorney or anything?
No, I don't at this point.
Do you
And
plan
there
on
is-
getting one?
I didn't know that I would need one. I had complete faith that the police department would find out who killed my son. And here it is 2 years and nothing. So I guess I should look into getting an attorney.
I'm guessing you're not in the 6-figure tax bracket, right?
No, not at all.
Police aren't going to help out. They're not interested in anybody like us that are under 6 figures, that are not pillars of the community, that they can't have any kind of, recognition for their efforts for. When they invest in us, basically, to them, it's like a drop in the bucket as far as their time and energy. That's why we get talked to with such disrespect as far as our income level. No matter if we're black, white, Mexican, it doesn't matter. If we're poor, we all get treated the same way by the police. So what I would do, and this is advice, not legal advice, as the mother, if it was me on my end, I would be turning up the heater and starting with us. That's how you do it. But on your end, what I would do is I would just start pressing that police department for all and any information that you can get.
They don't return her calls.
I would do it. I would do the
And,
online.
I don't want to go in person because my attitude is very vicious at this point, and I don't want to wind up in jail because I could be quite aggressive, and they will take my
it's good that you recognize that.
Like,
no, it's good that you recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, and you don't put yourself in danger. That's good. But there's an online forum that you can keep requesting through. And keep doing it, denial after denial after denial. And the reason why you want to do that is because you're going to get a digital paper trail. Because this is not going to be an ending, saga. So what we're going to do is we're going to start building up all this evidence, showing how you've tried to reach out, how the police department, how the city, the governor, everybody has just been ignoring you, no matter who has been involved up until a certain point. Certain point, the dam is going to break. Somebody's going to get the attention of these guys, and they're going to say, "Yo, they're these poor people are squeaking too fucking much. We need to do something because
the squeaky wheel.
But we gonna get some answers, okay?"
So, but the thing is that in order to do this, you have to make sure that you are under control and do not allow yourself to be victim of trolling on your end, especially being involved with an entity like us. Because we do have our enemies and we do have our followers too. And that we have our supporters and everything else, but we'll have people that like to follow up on work that we do, especially when we go live on this. And so they'll do their own background checks. And then they'll jump in the comments and try to say, well, I know this and I know this, which may not have any relevancy to your son or to the police or anything like that. So we want to make sure that everything that is being publicized has everything to do with justice, not rumors.
For sure.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come in and just start taking reins, Red Bull.
Oh no, you're okay.
When you guys call me for help, I'm like, all right, what do I need to fix?
We were talking about we need to get a hold of the DA because Coffee brought up that in order to, get the sheriff's office or the detective on to get moving, the DA is who we should be contacting.
Well, you got to remember the DA is not our friend. The DA works for the state. That's the district attorney. So getting a hold of him is only going to give him more information of your desperateness. What I would do is go through, like I said, go through public records, through the online sourcing, and you don't have to talk to anybody through there. You can actually call the non-emergency number or have somebody call in your stead if you feel that you're not emotionally secure to do it at this time, and have somebody who is more, stable at this moment emotionally to call and say, hey, I'm trying to get some information or at least an incident report on this. And with an incident report is different from a police report. So an incident report will have basically the the bullet points or meat and potatoes of what happened when the police showed up. The police report is going to have the actual details and the badge numbers and all that stuff in there. So there
Exactly.
has to be there. You have to get at. They're going to have to at least give you the incident police report or the 911 call that comes with their call log going out there. That call log does not have enough detailed information, more or less, to hinder their case. But what it should do is at least hopefully give us the name of this fucking kid that they might have. And if they don't know, they don't know. But at least it will let us
They
know
say
that
they
they
have
don't
no
know.
idea who he is.
Yeah, but they could be telling you anything.
We need to
Yeah.
get his face also,
the
Norman. I know you're good at videos and stuff, and that's when I was gonna send you all that, information. If we could try to get this kid's face, because if you're not guilty, why are you not coming out and saying, "Hey, that's me"?
Well, my thing is too is that when the police are telling you they don't know shit, it's take it with a grain of salt, because we just
Right,
got
because
done
they
working
couldn't
with
know
baby
it was not
Alex's case.
telling me.
You remember what happened with baby Alex's case, how the police were not helping out because they wanted him. And so they were like, no,
Right.
no. And they had everybody showing up and everybody was working for the DA for the police to hang Alex. So I don't trust law enforcement as far as I could throw them. You know what I mean?
Neither do I. Neither do I.
So in my line of work, what I've learned to do is just treat everybody like they're the criminal, for the most part. So police department to me are just as shady as the killer or the alleged killer or whatever they're looking for. So and the reason I'm saying that in sidebar is because if they already know who this kid is and they have him on the hook as an informant, or they have him where they've invested in a different case, millions of dollars, where he needs his credibility or something like that, your case can be put on the back burner until later or forgotten about forever and be a cold case. So what we want to do is we want to grab as much information as we can legally as far as civilians, and then from our resources we can mash out to anybody in any area through our resources. And if they're not on our team already, we can recruit people. So
Because the only thing I have at this point is the toxicology report of my son and his autopsy photos. That's it.
They haven't even gave her the autopsy report or what about the we were just talking about the ballistics.
I even went through FOIA to get the autopsy report, and they keep coming to me saying it's incomplete.
it's because it's an ongoing case, and FOIA is for federal, not state. So when you do a FOIA request, that's if it went into like the upper courts, and you know what I mean, FBI got involved or a different law enforcement agency got involved.
And that's interesting you say that, because them at the medical examiner office told me that's where I can retrieve a copy through FOIA.
Yeah, so they have to send their information because it has to be archived, because the FBI has to get everything. You know what I mean? So usually when all right, so let me slow down and back up because I'm getting excited. So when police departments have a big case that comes up, like with what happened with baby Alex, what we were just working on, the FBI will get involved if it's a high profile case and it expands maybe out of state lines or out of that, that jurisdiction. So it may be something too big for that local police department to cover. So the FBI would come in just as backup, just in case they have to pull extra resources because the police department doesn't have enough. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So when you do a FOIA request, it's usually the information that is already done from the trial, from the police investigations, from the autopsies, and it's all leaked down in there. But once the case is over, you can request the complete file or the complete case on the FOIA request as far as an individual. So right now, you're not going to be able to get a full pat down on what happened, but whatever they have given to the feds, such as the autopsy, we're going to get that. You're getting what you already have is expected. But what we're looking for is their information on who killed your son or what leads they have, so we can do our investigation on our end and find out who is who, talk to people in the hood, and do what we do.
Quick question,
Now his
real
car
quick.
was stolen, and they still have not found my son's car that was stolen during the time he was murdered.
I don't know how to expound upon that because that would be beyond my expertise as far as when I get involved, it's usually aftermath. So I usually have to look at the puzzle pieces and put it together with my team and figure out who is who and what is what. And then we come with a conclusion, and then we try to help out with the attorneys, or if we have a chance to work with an attorney or whatever, then we try to do our magic. But as far as right now with you, all we can do is basically at this point is gather information and yell from the rooftops that there's injustice here.
Okay.
That was going to be my question to you, is as the public, can we make phone calls to the police department and
Yeah.
you know,
to answer your question, Coffee, is called a call to arms. So
right.
So in our videos, what we can start doing at the end, after we explain everything, we can do to a call to arms to our viewers and let them know if you live in this area, or if you have contact, you know, or anything to do with the case, or know anything, you can contact us through fathersrevenge@gmail.com, or, you know, your guys's, you know, whatever,
Right.
or you can give the number to the police department if you really want to throw it to them. What I would say is throw it to you, have them make a flyer and have it thrown to mom. So mom gets all the information so she can screen on what's important and what's not, or she can decide if she wants to give it to us or law enforcement or whatever she wants to do. With giving it to us, we don't have to hide anything, and she has a copy of it. And with us exposing anything, if the police haven't got it already, they're not doing their fucking job.
2 years.
Right.
And that's what
So
we
if we
do
expose it,
in other cases. We make the calls,
Exactly.
we get loud, we, you know, so.
and we yell from the rooftops louder than the police can shut us up. And us being in different states, and our team, and this isn't just us. We have other team members that are associated with our niche. So all we have to do is a call to arms on our own, and we'll go ahead and call the team together that's in our niche that we have in our circle and growing. And we'll make sure that everybody on all platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of us are, you know, doing what we have to do to make sure that we are yelling from the rooftops. So we'll find this kid. This kid is talking. This kid has bragged about something. He went to an aunt's house and confided in somebody to be hid somewhere. Somebody knows something.
For sure. I believe so.
Picture. That is, how did they come about that picture? Right? Like,
I guess during the time of my son's murder, he walked into the gas station that was sitting in the video next to the transmission shot. And I guess the camera from the gas station caught him walking in.
okay.
And the police like, oh, well, you went all right after the shooting. He walks in all casually. Maybe he got something to do with it. So I don't think they know for sure if he had anything to do with it or not. They just
you know what?
grabbed the face and said, look.
I would be careful too, because it could be that this kid doesn't know anything and he just happened to be an innocent bystander and he just happened to walk in the store while black.
Right. That was my thought as well too. But I'm also like, maybe he could have, you know.
Now, has this made the local news? Have they shown that picture on the local news?
Not the local news. They did I did an interview with Andrea Isom, and it went out on an online platform, but it was not a story on local news. And the Detroit police did do a little brief story saying person of interest in the murder of Kenneth Bradley Jr. And it was like talked about and never talked about again.
Talked about on like Facebook or Twitter, or
it was
Instagram?
On like the Channel 4 local news, like they do a real quick flash, we have a person of interest.
No. So you answered my question. So now it's public domain officially because we have video archive of that. So we have there's no backlash on us for exposing this kid's picture because it's already been done from law enforcement.
That's where I got it from offline. They were like, hey, we got this person of interest, the local 4 news. And I went and snatched it off their page and I made copies and just start plastering them everywhere.
Well, if worse comes to worse, we'll find out who this kid is, and he can explain who he is either to them, or if he wants to come on the podcast and be like, "Oh, I'm innocent. I just happened." You know what I mean? I'll welcome him on the podcast, and then we'll release that to the police since they can't do their job. You know what I mean? So, because sometimes it takes civilians to handle civilian work. You know, not everybody trusts the police anymore, especially nowadays with the reputation.
Right. Exactly.
And we're not saying that all police officers are bad, but until they clean house nationally,
They're all
can't
bad.
rely on them.
They're all bad.
Exactly.
Yeah. We don't know who's a bad apple and who's not snitching or who's not, I'll use the wrong word. We don't know who's the bad apple, and we don't know who is the who is really a whistleblower. And the whistleblowers are more important than anything because they keep the system clean and make sure that we can trust the law enforcement. You know what I mean? So I encourage whistleblowers, you know what I mean, to come forward and get those bad apples out of there. That way we can have a just system that we can trust. So
Now, I will tell you this, during the time they were out there drag racing, the young man that was with my son that I believe set my son up to be murdered, I questioned him myself, and he stated that the Red Line Car Club had put on this event.
That was
so
a truck
let's
driver.
do this before we get on public, start talking about this. We should probably go offline so I can get doused in the details, because you've definitely piqued my interest, you know.
Well,
as
yeah,
always.
that's why I
Thanks,
was
Red
gonna
Bull.
do that the call this morning, but everybody was kind of, so I was gonna set up the little group thing. So you guys,
So let's do that if we can. Let's do that a little bit later today, because I still have to do my show for my audience and everything.
yeah,
But I do want to come back to this because this has definitely got my attention. It's going to be in the back of my mind if I don't. So let's get rid of what we got this morning that's on the table, and then we'll come back to this afternoon if you girls are cool with that. That way
Absolutely.
we can give it our undivided attention.
yeah, that's fine.
Cool. And Miss Hall, you cool with that?
Yes. Just give
Okay.
me a time. And there's some
you have-
information I haven't given to Red Bull where there's a timeline where everything took place from the time my son left the house up leading to his murder.
We will go over all
I'll
of that
add you
in
guys in
private.
a group chat right now, and then later on we could,
invite her in.
Yeah.
Or we can just do another StreamYard either on mine or yours, and we can just group chat in the StreamYard too. Because it's more private if we do it like this. We don't have to worry, you know what I mean? We don't have to worry about Messenger and all that or whatever.
Well, my thing is because I gotta walk around and clean and cook and.
Well, we'll do it on mine and just keep your phone. Just have your phone.
Right.
Oh, I could do it on my phone. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm tripping.
Okay.
All right. So we'll all tap in later, Miss Hall. It was definitely nice meeting you, and again, my
Nice
condolences.
meeting you all too, and thank you all so much. I really appreciate you all's help.
Thank you,
No
Manny,
worries.
for just
Anything
jumping on
we
like
can
that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll tap in. We'll tap in later. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Miss Hall, for coming on. She
Don't
left.
forget to like and subscribe, guys.
Please like and subscribe, you guys. Please share this video. Let's help Miss Hall get justice for Kenneth Bradley. I'm gonna just finish the rest of the video.
Okay.
And we will see you guys over on Norman's show. Oh wait.
And Kenneth had children who are now covered in grief.
Give me my daddy back. And that's something I can't grant his son or his daughter. This baby needs therapy. And she got enough sense to know her necklace on her neck is her dad in it. She won't let nobody touch it.
Now, let me ask you this. To other mothers and fathers and loved ones who know how you feel, because they too are in the position that you are in and may sit in the chair that you're sitting in right now, what do you want them to know?
First and foremost, my condolences for their loss. And I want them to know that they're not alone. And it doesn't matter if people don't understand your loss.
I know this was not, I know it was not easy. I know it. And thank you for thinking of other people when you're in this grief that is unimaginable.
Because I'm not the only one going through this.
No, she's not. And you know what really baffles me?
I'm going to stop the video right here, you guys. That is Kenneth Bradley Jr. Please help us get justice. We are going to do, like we said, a whole nother video. We're going to all get together, and he deserves justice. There is so many cases in Detroit that are not solved. The police need to get their act together. It's heartbreaking just hearing this story. 2 years. There's a person of interest. Please share that person of interest. Share it everywhere. I will go and get a flyer right now and put it on the community tab. So if you guys could share that everywhere. I got to get off of here. We're going to go live on the Norman Nick show. Please go subscribe to him if you haven't already. And I will see you guys later. Thank you guys so much. Please give this video a thumbs up and share as well.